welcome back to the channel. And this video today is going to be doing a little bit of work on the Xmaxx. So I want to start playing around with some gearing ideas. Currently at the moment I've got a 25 tooth pinion with a 50 tooth spur gear, and that's running the Hobbywing Max 6 with the 1650 kV motor. And yes, I do run it on 8S and it's been absolutely fine. It's just got bags and bags of power. I did have it on a 23 tooth pinion with a 50 tooth spur, and it was just a bit of a wheelie monster. It still is a wheelie monster, but the power's a little bit more controllable even on punch one. So I mean, hit me up in the comments. I might be wrong, trying to work out a gearing where I can kind of lay in the power a bit more without it just flipping up on the back wheels. But I'm going to try a 46 tooth spur gear, a hardened steel hot racing one. I'm going to change the shaft out in the cush drive, purely to make sure that it's going to be as stable as possible. I recently did a 50 tooth spur gear. I'm not sure if the video will be out now or before or after this video, but basically I did a jump, ended up in a lake, not a lake but a pond, sort of pond, flooded area, and water seemed to have rushed inside where the gears were and all that. Well, it looked like the pinion had got forced or moved, and it ended up chewing halfway round the spur gear. So I put another 50 tooth in there. Haven't run it since, but I was thinking, well, while I'm at this stage, why don't I try playing around with some of the gears? So I'm going to try 46 tooth in there and see what that does. So let's get into it. Right, so I'm going to start by taking the cover off. I've modified this cover. I had to cut a piece out of there to make the gears fit using the new M2C motor mount. But doing so has enabled it to let in like little stones and bits and pieces. So what I did is I actually got a side guard off of my Tallion actually, because I don't need no more. And the curved part I've managed to bond on there, so I managed to reuse the original cover, plus I've made it a bit higher and I can still grab it and pull it off. So it keeps that kind of authentic look, but it serves a purpose and it's nice and solid. So I'm going to pull this out. I've got a screw down there and a screw down there, and it's going to expose the gears. I'll do that and I'll be back with you. Right, got that cover off. I'll show you. So this is part of the original cover, and then there's like a little handle there. So I just cut and shaved down the bit that I needed, and then I've bonded it on there with a 2-pack plastic, and I can still get hold of it like that or like that as I want to pull it out, and drilled a little hole through there and able to get the screw back through. But that's pretty nice and solid. It's got a nice shiny bit on there. That'll soon dull up and it will match the rest of it. But it enables me to put bigger gears inside without them catching the case, or without having to run it without a case, because the last thing you want is a stone getting stuck in there and then chewing up your gears and messing up your mesh. So now we've got 4 screws down here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The 2 inner ones are longer, 2 outer ones are shorter. I'm going to whip those out, pull the cush drive out, and then I can start taking it apart. Right, so here we go. Those of you who've got Xmaxxes will already know exactly what this is all about and what to do. Anyone doing this for the first time or just looking on the video and never had an Xmaxx, if you undo that screw, that screw and that screw, you can then remove the spur gear and then put your new one straight back on. But as we're doing the shaft, we're going to undo all these screws. We need to take off the whole cush drive in here, which has got a rubber bit. Take all these bits off. So I've got to take this gear off here, bearings off, and then swap everything over onto the new shaft. Right, that's going to make life so much easier. Right, and as easy as that. That's how your spur gear comes off. Now if you're just changing that, you'll just get your new one and put it straight on, but we're not, we're changing the shaft, so we need to remove these 3 as well. Tell you what I'm going to do, I'm just going to give them one little loosen up by hand, so there's no biting and chewing up the thread. Right, so then this top section will come off. There should be a little cover there that goes over and slots and locates on your pin. You pull this pin out in the middle, that one there, puts that to one side, and then you can remove the cush drive and the bearing, and then on this end the bearing comes off that end. That's on there tight. There we go. That comes off, and then you've got another pin in there like so. Like that. And that is your shaft. I'm going to pull the other one out of the packet, I'm going to reassemble it, and then we'll come back to you. Right, so we've got the new gear assembled. It did come with some screws, but they were shorter than the original ones that were in there, and the long ones don't come out of the bottom and are going to impede anything, so I'd rather put the longer screws in there. And that's the old shaft. Got a new shaft. That's your bearing that floats around on the end. So right, let's get this back in the truck, and then we can start looking to mesh it up. Right, so it should be a tad easier to get in there than taking it out. I'm going to feed it in through the back. Being that it's a smaller gear, it should go in easier. Make sure your bearings sit in the recesses where they need to be. And it does, look at that. It fits in nice and easy. But now we need to bring the motor down to meet the spur gear. So I need to get the cover back on. This one, I need to whip the cover back on there, and then we can start looking to mesh it up. Right, so I've got the cush drive cover back on there, or the little grey cover. I've loosened off the 2 screws either side of the M2C mount, which should free it up for us to be able to mesh this up. I've only unnipped it. Now, there is different points on here, down the sides, so that there's like little bits like that, and there's a bit of metal, a little bit like that, bit of metal. So I might need to remove the screw and take it down to the next slot. So I'm going to do that off camera. Again, meshing up is the same as any other one really. Most people use like a little bit of paper, put it in there, push it together, tighten it up, and then turn the gear around, pull the paper out, and it should be a perfect mesh. So we'll go with that, we'll try that. I'm just going to get this where I need it to be, and then I'll come back to you. Right, so there we go. With it being that much smaller, I did have to undo the screws at the bottom, move the motor mount over this way a little bit, and then I take the screws out and move them down to the next level in order for me to give it the right height and mesh that I needed. So that's done now. Got that in there, giving it a quick spin up, but my batteries have now gone flat, so I only had a little bit of juice left in there. Part of me thinks that having a 46 on there is going to make it wheelie more because it's spinning the wheels quicker. If I went to like a 56 but drop the pinion, would that help with reducing like wheelies and so much, you know, kind of get up and go? I know it's just trial and error. It's a game of you know, what's the best settings, but we're going to give that a go, see what that's like. Next thing we've got to do is get it out and give it a run. Right guys, there's one more thing, and I'm excited about this one because it actually came on Thursday, but I was out on Thursday because it was Easter weekend, and I couldn't pick it up till today. And Ben from Bigfoot Customs has kindly made me another double fan to go on the Xmaxx. If you haven't already, check him out. You find him on Facebook. I'll leave a link in the description down below. But this time, rather than going from the ESC, we're going to have it situated that way round. It's done me an extra long lead so that I can kind of run it there or wherever I kind of want it. But let me just whack one of these batteries on here. Are you ready for this? Oh yeah, that's got some power. So Ben, thank you. You got it out to me. You got this all done on the Wednesday. You sent it out on the Wednesday night. It was delivered to me on the Thursday, but unfortunately I wasn't in. Super speedy delivery time. The quality on this is unbelievable, and just check these out. I mean, that's awesome. I had a blue one on there before and I managed to break it on a stupidly big jump, or actually it was a front flip. But now I've got this running off of the balance leads, and this should give me super cool temps in there whilst I'm racing it around against the boys. So one more thing to do is get it out, check out this new 46-25 gearing, test out this new fan, put it out on the track, and see how well it goes. So with a bit of computer magic tree and YouTube magic tree, let's go into the race. Right, so all sorts of dramas today with the Xmaxx. I went to fire it up, wouldn't run, even though I took it out for a little test last night. And our last excursion, where we ended up in the pond, it's always got in the receiver and it's packed it up. So I managed to borrow another receiver and I've binded it to my Sanwa, and we are back up and running again. So it's going to be Bigfoot custom fans on there, as you can hear, buzzing away.
Not really much more, is it?
No, it's a bit more controllable now. This has got a 20-tooth pinion with a 46-tooth spur on it. It's a bit more controllable, so we're going to see what it's like heat wise. We have fans on there and obviously going around the track.
Okay.
Set, go! It's a major right there. Let's let these boys get out and hunt them down. I like doing a little bit of hunting. There we go. K8 hunting. Coming for him. Oh, he's got him. He's seeing red now. Oh, look, he's seeing red now. Oh, let's push him along.
Go up there, okay?
Let's push him along. Nudge out of the way there.
Yeah, do not go up there now. Bigfoot might get run over.
Oh, excellent race.
That was good.
Hi guys, right, a little update on the dual fan setup here. Ben at Bigfoot Customs, he made me this absolutely awesome dual fan for the Xmaxx, and we did have it running off of the balance lead. Now in my last run, first time testing it, yeah, it was really brilliant. When it comes to the end of the day, the battery it was plugged into puffed up. It has gone back down. I feel safe to use it. All the levels and everything seem all right. I'm going to keep an eye on it. But what I have done is, rather than going from the balance lead, I've picked up a 5 volt to 12 volt converter. So that's upside down. I've run that into the receiver box. So it's coming direct from the receiver now, rather than off of a battery. It goes off and it splits. Now this is already married up to 2, paired up to 2 already up here, so it's got a single lead. I've got a splitter off of there, so I'm actually running the ESC fan and the other two from the transmitter with the 5 volt to 12 volt adapter. So let me just turn my controller on and I'll just show you quickly. So rather than it being coming out at 6 volts, these are actually running at 12 volts, and you have a little listen. And that's on 6S. That's punching out 12 volts of power out there. There's plenty of cooling coming out of there. So there you go, all good. If you want to have a high powered, sorry, that's one of the batteries. If you want to have high powered fan without running it off of a LiPo or a separate LiPo, on Amazon you can pick up this 5 volt to 12 volt converter, and you can put a plug that will go on straight into there. It's only 2 wires. Plug that straight into there, and then you can do up a join there, or you can join up like a wire piece to run 2 separate fans. So hopefully that might help someone else out who wants to run high speed fans. But like with the Traxxas, if you're running the standard servo in there, if you take it up to 7.4 volts on the back, it'll blow your servo and cook it. So you need to leave it at 6 volts. If you put a converter on there, you haven't got to do that, and you can still have high speed fans without having to have a separate LiPo in there, which is going to be more weight, or running it off your balance lead. So hopefully that can help someone out. If you like what I'm doing, don't forget, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Big shout out to Bigfoot Customs again for doing this fan for me, and I'll leave a link in the description down below from where you can get this from Amazon for about £7.